Good to have you back as we dive into another classic film. This is an Australian film that arrived at the end of the new wave and at the beginning of what would be a mostly forgettable decade for Australian film, but a decade that produced a handful of standout films, and this is one of those standouts. It beautifully taps into the film noir style, matching it with the seedy underbelly of the flashy but beautiful Australian Gold Coast. It is sharply written, beautifully shot, and features a number of great Australian actors. It is Goodbye Paradise from 1982. The idea of doing a Raymond Chandler-style story set on the Gold Coast came from writer, actor, producer Denny Lawrence. His original idea featured an ex-police officer working as a private investigator tasked with investigating a quasi-religious commune run by a charlatan that ended with the deaths of many of his followers. When the Jonestown massacre happened, Lawrence quickly decided this wasn't going to be well received. He pitched the idea to Bob Ellis, who liked it, and the two of them agreed to work together. They always envisaged actor Ray Barrett in the lead role of Private Eye Mike Stacey, and with funding from the New South Wales Film Corporation, went to Surfers Paradise to research and write the script. While Lawrence was more interested in a genre piece, Ellis tried to incorporate his political beliefs into the story, and this explains some of the confusion and madness of the later parts of the film. This is a highly unusual genre for Australian film, with the only other Private Eye movies of the modern era being Plug from 1975, The Empty Beach from 1985, The Roly-Poly Man from 1994, and The Life of Harry Dare from 1995. But this film is by far the best of those films. Ray Barrett was well aware of how closely he resembled his character Stacey, saying, "Bob Ellis is a great observer, and when I finally read the script I thought, you bugger, you've observed Barrett. But I didn't mind. Stacey is a failure, but a lovable failure. A kind man at heart, yet everything's slipping by him and he hasn't achieved the things he wanted to. The character relates to a lot of people, including myself." Barrett was ably supported by highly experienced TV actors Paul Chubb, Kate Fitzpatrick and Lex Marinos, as well as mainstay of both stage and screen Robin Nevin, who played one of Stacey's old flames. The financiers wanted Michael Thornhill, who had directed Between Wars in 1974, The F.J. Holden in 1977, and The Journalist in 1979. Thornhill had wanted several script changes which Bob Ellis and Denny Lawrence refused. They insisted on Carl Schultz, who had been working in TV since his firing from Bluefin in 1978, and there was some resistance to his attachment. This film begins a golden period for Schultz, who went on to make Careful He Might Hear You and Travelling North. There were just a few days for rehearsals prior to principal photography beginning in July of 1981 on the Gold Coast and running for 8 weeks. This film has an important context which people outside of Australia would be unaware of. At the time of its production, the Queensland Police were harbouring a significant number of corrupt officers with connections that went right to the Commissioner of Police and likely as far as the Premier of Queensland. This wouldn't be revealed until around 1989 when the Commission of Inquiry into Possible Illegal Activities and Associated Police Misconduct, widely referred to as the Fitzgerald Inquiry, handed down its findings. Seen in the context of the time, this is a cheeky swipe at what was not widely known about police corruption, but was widely suspected. Upsetting the Queensland Police is something few people were willing to do at the time, which makes everyone involved in this film either brave or a little stupid. But that is one of the reasons that this film is something to be cherished. The film starts very strongly with the central character's opening Chandler-esque monologue.
The winter sun was going down on Surfers Paradise. It was my 98th day on the wagon. It didn't feel any better than my 97th. I missed my hip flask of Johnny Walker, my ex-wife Jean, my pet dog Samari, and my exorbitant salary as Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Stacey, recently kicked out of the police force, retires in a drunken fog to the back blocks of the glamorous Gold Coast to write a tell-all memoir before he is swept up by greater forces. The film remains strong while it adheres to its film noir themes, with links to bigger agendas driven by money and the promise of big profits. It eventually goes somewhat off the rails as it descends into the mayhem of an airborne assault by helicopter gunships on a hippie vegetable patch and a military coup staged to deliver oil reserves into the hands of an overseas power. The irony of this storyline is that today foreign multinationals currently control most of Australia's oil, gas and mineral resources, having secured them peacefully in boardrooms and through the behind-the-scenes assistance of compliant, possibly corrupt politicians. The film was nominated for 4 AFI Awards for Best Film and Best Direction, winning for Best Actor for Ray Barrett and Best Original Screenplay for Bob Ellis and Denny Lawrence. The film's cinematographer, John Seal, won the Cinematographer of the Year award in a separate ceremony. It won the Best Film Prize at the inaugural Sydney Film Critics Circle Awards and was one of the 50 Australian films selected for preservation as part of the National Film and Sound Archive's Cinema Collection Restoration Project. Ellis and Lawrence wrote a sequel for the film called Goodbye Adelaide. The plot involves Stacey finishing the book he is writing in this movie and visiting the Adelaide Festival to promote it, where he is caught up in an attempted defection by a Russian poet. However, the movie was sadly never made. Lots of really good reasons to watch this film. So if you're a film noir fan, you'll love some of the dialogue and the genre references. There's some great locations, it's beautifully shot, fabulous acting from everyone involved, with Barrett's performance a real standout. And a seat-of-your-pants ride all the way to its frankly crazy finale. So what I'd suggest you do is that you go to our website, find our virtual screenings page, find the link to this particular film, click on it and watch it. As always, see what you think. We'd always love you to come back, share your thoughts about the film, whether you recommend it for other people as well. And then we'll be back again in the not too distant future for our next classic films review. Catch you next time.